Hi, welcome back to Living Life with Nani and Bobo.
This is take two.
This
We
is take
we
two,
had a
isn't
camera
it?
malfunction on the first one, so this is take two.
And the first one was going
Oh,
pretty
it was
good.
so good too.
So,
You really missed it. It was a good one.
so hopefully we can recreate. We're touching on kind of piggyback on the estrangement thing where it's concerning women. You know, I feel like women are the mothers, maybe mother-in-laws, I don't know, are blamed for a lot of stuff.
And
It's
basically, we're following up on another video that YouTube advised us that people paid a lot of attention to it and then kind of encouraged us to follow that track. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. But we just empower women. But go ahead.
yeah, talking about how women are they're the glue that holds a
Well,
family together,
actually,
society together.
one of the things that came to me when you really think about these things is that women are the thread that knits the fabric of society together. If you take that female thread and start pulling it and pull it out of society, then the whole thing unravels.
And we believe that's why the enemy, the
Oh,
devil, fights so
always,
hard against women.
always.
And if you go throughout history, it's women. Women they came after.
So
Women.
we blame Eve so much, right? Oh, Eve ate the apple and it's her fault. Well, when you think about it, Eve was tricked by the serpent, by the devil. Adam was fully aware that what he's doing, what he was about to do, he wasn't supposed to do. So he went into it knowing Eve was tricked. So there you go.
And so one of the things that with that estrangement is I'm the one I mean, not to say he's not, but mostly I am being accused of
This, for those of you
things.
who don't know, the estrangement thing, it's a big trend in society. Parental estrangement, where children put up boundaries and against their parents, and you wind up estranged, and you don't get to see your grandkids anymore.
But most of the accusations have been towards me. But this is how the enemy works. He goes after the women because he knows that we have a lot of strength. We're strong. We don't sometimes recognize that, and that's the problem. Is that
Well, women are minimized. They have been women. I mean, things have gotten better since the 50s and 60s and all that, but women have just been minimized. Simple as that. They've been minimized in society, and it's my view and Nani's view and the view of a lot of people that women need this. Just take their rightful place. Stop hanging your head. You are who you are, and you're very important.
well, like I said, God, when we don't see that and we criticize ourselves and we don't think we're good enough, it's a slap in God's face because He created you just the way you are. And He knew you before you were in your mother's womb. So He knew who you were going to be. He knew the importance you were going to play in your family and society. And something Terry had written down.
Oh, I saw this recently and it really struck me. Strong women aren't born, they're made by the storms that they walk through. And boy, if that's not true. Nani and has walked through some very traumatic storms in the last 52 years. Well, actually, going back probably longer than that. But that's what makes her who she is.
But at the same time, if you are a strong woman,
Uh-huh.
you're what's the word, villainized.
Well, yeah. Well, today it's the term is Karen, right? If you're a well, I mean, some of the Karen thing is legitimate, I guess, but the vast majority of men, because I'm a man, I spend a lot of time in the male world, and men do not. Most men, generally speaking, do not know what to do with a confident woman. They're intimidated by them, and then that poor woman gets accused of being all kinds of things because she's confident, and men don't know what to do with that.
And a lot of times, like I've said this before, is that the men will talk to him, but they're not talking to me.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we had a pastor one time. The way he treated his wife, and he told Terry, well, if you want to go do what you want to do, just give her some money and tell her to go shopping. And Terry laughed because, and I want to just apologize. I go back and forth from Terry to Bobo. Bobo and Nani are our grandparents' names. That's what we named the channel, but that is Terry. I'm Susan, and I kind of go back and forth
Right.
in case you get confused. But anyways, this pastor said that to Terry, and he laughed, and he said, "Do you know who you're talking about? My wife, you can't give her the money. She already has
She's
the
already got
money,
it.
and she's not a shopper. That doesn't make her
See,
happy."
that's the assumptions that, there's old assumptions that men have of women.
Or what do you? I had someone say to me, "What do you mean you like football?" Oh, women aren't supposed to like football. I'm the football fan more than he is. And this is what I mean. It's these labels,
Stereotypes.
stereotypes that are put on women. And as I got older, the more that rose up in me. Like, you're not going to do that to me. You're not going to put those labels on me. I can be whoever I want to be.
And that's the point. That's the point we're trying to make. Stand up for who you are. Be who you are, especially older women. Be who you are. Don't be intimidated by younger women and all that fashion nonsense and all the stereotypes. You be who you are and be who you are. Don't back down from it. Be who you are and don't be afraid of it.
And that's something I've always, always emphasized to my daughter. And let me tell you, she is a strong woman,
Mm.
confident woman. Um, she's a little tiny thing, but you don't mess with her. And she knows who she is. She knows what she believes. She's just,
Confidence.
very, very confident. And I envy her because I wish I would have done that in my earlier years. And yet, this is a funny thing. I didn't think I was confident. I didn't think of that. And I remember,
Well, because you were never encouraged to be confident. Both of us grew up in families where you were tolerated, you weren't encouraged, and both of us were compared to siblings. Worst thing you could do to a kid as a parent.
and I remember I was in a speech class in college, and I got up, gave my speech, and everybody was coming up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, you are so confident. Oh my goodness, you're such a good speaker. You didn't act nervous at all." I was as nervous as
But
heck.
see, that's another good point. See, that's that you have um, abilities and things that you're blessed with and gifted with, but so many women have been just minimized and put down that some of them don't even know what their abilities are because they've never been confident enough to go after them. Go after what you want.
Absolutely. Again, had I known, but we're all on our own journeys, and I'm just
Yeah.
grateful that I'm where I am today. That I sometimes have sadness that I didn't know it earlier of my strengths and my
Here's
abilities.
one.
And
Hold on, I gotta tell you one. So whenever we buy anything, she does the negotiating because if the salesman says it's the truck's 10,000 grand, here I'll give you 10 grand. She's not gonna pay 10 grand. When we had our business, I always took her when we bought uh, company vehicles. And the last one I went to buy, she got up and went to the bathroom, and the salesman looked at me and says, "I'm afraid of her." One more. We bought a Subaru years ago. Um, she was so demanding about what she wanted that the male salesman went to one of the female salesmen and gave Nani to her because she said, "I can't deal with her."
that's not a bad thing.
No, it's
I
not.
mean, I wasn't mean. I'm not a bad person. In that respect, I am very, very strong, and I'm very strong-willed, and and all these things serve
It's
you
okay to be
well.
strong-willed, women.
Yes, it'll serve you well, and don't shy away. And it just makes me crazy when women try to become what the man wants them to become. That's
Mm,
insanity. The man doesn't become generally what they think you would want. I mean, yes, you
all right.
love and respect each other, and you
Yeah.
do things, but you know what I'm saying here.
Here, can I tell this story?
What?
The surgery story.
Yeah.
Oh, so years ago, Susan had surgery and had a breast reduction done, and I was stunned by the people that would ask her, "Well, what's your husband say about it?" Your husband don't get to say anything about it.
No, it's my body. It's what was best for me. But this is what we
Although I
do.
think it should be illegal, by the way. But go ahead.
This is what we do. We put all this on women. It just make I just go crazy with this stuff. The
Well,
things that are expected or your what's the word I'm looking for?
no, I don't know.
I don't know
But
either.
while you're thinking about it, women are viewed and deemed successful or whatever by their looks. We were just coming home and listening to something on the radio, and they were talking about the thing with Christy Nome and how she got fired, la da da da. And but they were all talking about, oh, she's so beautiful and this, that, and the other. What does that have to do with anything? You never hear that when a male politician gets fired. You don't ever hear him say, oh, he
No,
was such a good-looking guy, man. Same
no.
thing. Little girl gets kidnapped or tragically murdered or whatever. It's awful. And one of the first things you hear on the news is, and she was so cute.
And
You
is
don't do
it?
that with men.
No, and it's a shame. And a lot of that went on in the local church. Let me tell you, people know this, especially. I don't even know. I'm not going to use labels, but women couldn't teach. They could teach children. They could do nursery, but they couldn't teach, and they couldn't do. They could do hospitality.
Hmm.
They weren't allowed to do anything that supposedly only the men could do.
We, where we used to live, we went to a local church down the road, and there was a woman in there. I don't know, Liz was in her 80s probably at the time, one of the founders of the church, and just a dynamic Christian woman. And the pastor had the audacity to say to her, well, it's time you just sit on the pew and rest. You've done your job. No, that's my point. This woman's in her 80s. She's been doing this for decades. No, you don't sit on a pew. You glean what you can from her experience.
And that would be nice. That would be nice
Mm.
that we would have those abilities to mentor younger women, and there are, but a lot of times there aren't. Like he said, you're pushed aside. We've talked about that before. You walk into a church and I swear they see your gray hair. You're already.
Yeah, you're and that's in general, older people in America aren't valued like they should be because again, you're not young anymore. You don't look like you did when you were in your 20s and la 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 da. But it's just the opposite. What you possess from your experience in life is so valuable. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not.
And that's what we really wanted to stress is know who you are, embrace it, quit being told all the lies that the enemy tries to tell you that you're worth nothing. Especially as you get older. I think it's women and men in that regard.
Yeah. Don't don't let don't let somebody disrespect you. Just you don't have to. You don't have to put up with it, and don't hang your head. Don't walk around just all I mean, if you're shy, you're shy. I get it. But you have a right to be who you are, and you have a right to say what you feel, and you have a right to dress it well. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But dressed for you. You don't need to dress for any man. If you want to, fine. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's
your
your
choice. But
choice.
you don't need to do that.
It's just about, embracing and being empowered as a
That's
woman.
the word, empowered.
As a woman, it doesn't really matter what age it is. Unfortunately, a lot of things you learn as you get older, and a part of that is you do boldness rises up. I don't
Right.
care what you think attitude kind of rises up.
Be deliberate in who you are. Be
Yes.
deliberate. Don't just walk through life letting society dominate how you act and what you do. Be deliberate in being you.
And don't listen to the lies. And there's a ton of them
Oh
out
my
there
God.
that
The
you
the beauty industry in this country is absurd.
It really, really
The
is.
cosmetics. I mean, it's absurd.
And I talked about that in the last video, is find what works for you. If you like to wear a lot of makeup, go for it. If you don't, it's okay. We were just out shopping today, and it just the amount of stuff that is targeted. Like you go into any store, there's a small section for men, and the women's section can be 2, 3 floors worth of stuff. It's just
Because again,
insanity.
that's what we're talking about. That's the enemy. That's the devil. It's just let me trap women into all of this stuff. It's insane.
And I think that distracts you.
Of course, it's a
You
distraction.
know, it's a distraction when you're thinking about your looks and all these things. Then the enemy can get you off of what is important, and that's, being used by God and being an important part of society and in your families and in the body of Christ, or your careers, whatever it
Since
is.
the beginning of time, the devil has gone after women because he knows that women are how society continues on. Yeah, the men play a part, but it's women that give birth to children.
And did you ever wonder why God chose the women? Because it's the hardest thing you're going to do. Men couldn't have done that.
No, one baby and we'd have been extinct a long time ago. One baby and it would have been over with.
And read through your Bible how God used women. I
Not
mean,
only biblically, but I mean, I don't mean to minimize that, but you look, uh, Deborah and on and on and on. The judges were, many of them were females. And if you look through society, Golda Meir, one of the first prime ministers of Israel, dynamic woman. You can go on and on and on. And yet, well, here's a good example. In this thing we're involved in with Iran now, one of the female fighter pilots was shot down, and I saw a video of it. And when she landed, she was smiling from ear to ear. I mean, here you got women flying multi million-dollar fighter aircraft today. Tell me you don't count.
right. And we do count. We count, and
Darn
I
right.
do believe, like I said, the enemy, he he comes after us, and the most, something that really hit me is that we're targeted, and yet it's so evil that we're being separated from our children, our grandchildren. That's a maternal instinct in us.
Right.
So of course he comes after that.
Right.
Where can he hit you the hardest is in those areas, because that's the way God designed us.
I mean, I'm thinking in my head, the devil knows that I don't have to go after men because they're just kind of stupid anyway, right? But women, um, he has to work hard at going after them because he knows how important they are. It's not that men aren't important, but my point is that women are just as valuable and in some ways more valuable than men are in this world.
And we know that that's not how it's looked at, because
No,
look at the job
no.
situation. A woman could do the same job as a man, and she's not going to get paid what the man does.
Stunning that it still goes
And it
on.
still goes on. As much as we have gained a lot of,
Yeah, you've made your gains, no doubt.
yes, I mean, things are far better. Women couldn't own land, on and on you can go. Women can own all these things, but yet they're still, a lot of times I'll say to him, you call them, because they won't talk to a woman. And
Well,
that's
that's
still
true.
true.
Yeah.
Like, if you went to a car dealership as a woman without the man, they're
Yeah,
going to try to treat you a whole
right.
different way. They're going to think you're stupid and that you don't know what you're talking about.
And that's a good point there. Is so when you do go to do something like that, if you're a single older woman, and I hate to even say the single part because it implies that you need a man, and that's not what I'm saying.
No, we're
But
not saying that.
what I'm saying is that if you're on your own as an elder woman and you go in to buy a car, do your homework before you go in there and know what is going on. Don't fall for other nonsense. And there's another point, and it has nothing to do with age or anything, but this is about living life with Nani and Boba. And what we've always done our entire marriage, if we're going to go buy something large like a vehicle, we never buy it that same day. And salesmen hate that. We'll go in there and I'll tell them right off the jump, we're not buying a car today. And they all think they can talk you into it. But quite often, and it doesn't have to be a car. It's a lot of things that we buy. We go home, we think about it, and pray about it. And if it's the right thing to do, we'll go back and we'll actually fulfill the purchase the next day. No hurry.
So it took, I just wanted to emphasize that. It took me a while to gain some of these truths and begin to live in them and walk in them, embrace them. And what we want is don't wait so long. Do it now.
Oh, yeah.
Today is your day.
Yeah.
I think of like in Esther, in the book of Esther, for such a time as this. How do you know that today isn't your day?
Right.
To be empowered, to be who you're supposed to be. You know, he touched on that single thing. You don't have to wait for a man.
No.
You can be all that you can be being single or whatever your situation is.
Right.
And that's what we really wanted to emphasize, is just embracing how important women are, finding what works for you and what makes you who you are and feel good, and not apologize. Stop. You know how many women constantly are apologizing? Quit apologizing. Like Terry, Bobo, whatever you want to call him, said, you know, we say that to our granddaughter all the time.
Well, yeah, that she's when she was younger, and she's graduating from high school, and she's older now. But ever since she was a little kid, she had a tendency to kind of whisper, and I would get yelled at because you don't have to be so gruff with her. But I used to tell her, if you got something to say, stick your chest out and say it. Don't. You have a right to say what you want. Don't hang your head and whisper and be afraid to stand up for who you are. When you walk in a room, let people know you're there. You don't be shy about who you are.
And that's another thing. I've been criticized my whole life. You're so loud. You know.
Well, she is that.
And
her,
I am loud. But you will know what I have to say. And
yeah, there won't be no mistaking it.
No, but you're criticized for that because you should be quiet. You should, there's just these stereotypes are insanity. And I know for me, I'm over it, and I'm not even going to say it, never mind. But, I just don't like the way women are treated. And
well, it's a sad state of affairs. And what, I don't know, I don't want to say that we allowed this, but we kind of have allowed it to take place in our society.
But I want to say one thing. Thank you, men who do treat your women right. Thank you for the pastors who treat the women right. Yeah. Thank you for all of the bosses that treat the women. I don't ever want to leave this with a bunch of complaining. Isn't our
no.
Our intention is to complain. We're just pointing out what we have experienced and what we want to see change and what we want to see women just rise up.
I said this in another video, and I as I go about my day, if I get the opportunity, I tell women this. So when I study the Bible, quite often I get my Greek lexicon and my Hebrew lexicon, and I really dig into some words. And I was doing a study one time in Genesis, and I start digging into the word female. And the word female in Hebrew means something of greater value. Now, you do what you want with that. When we had our 25th anniversary, we didn't have a real wedding. I was overseas in the Navy that time, and got married. We had one night and then went back to work the next day. So we didn't really have a wedding. So at our 25th anniversary, we redid the vows and all this and that. And I told her, I said, God is my reason, but you're my source. I'm sorry, God is my source, but you're my reason. I had it backwards. And she really is. And men, you know it as well as I do, that if you have a good wife, she's the reason you ain't in jail.
One other thing that we didn't touch on that I wanted to talk about is it's okay for whatever way you go. Like, I was criticized for being a stay-at-home mom. Like, I didn't live up to my potential, that I missed the opportunity to have this big career, and I never regretted that. Never, ever, ever. But what I did not like is anytime we went to a social event, so what do you do for a living? Mm-hmm. And when you'd say, I was a stay-at-home mom and I just worked part-time, it was like so demeaning. And yet that's we've heard this forever. It's the most important job you can do.
Yeah.
I don't criticize. If you want a career and raise your kids,
It's your
God
business.
bless you that you can do that. If you want to have 10 kids, we get criticized if we have more than 2. God bless
Your
you.
business.
Do what you want. What works for you. If you can juggle a career and raise your kids
Yeah.
well, please do it. If you don't, know that you're still a very important, integral part of society.
All I know is if you take women out of society, we're all in deep trouble. That's all I gotta say. And I think we should probably start winding us up because we're going a little bit long here.
That's okay. My last thing, rise up.
Yeah.
Rise up, women.
Be who you are. Be who God created you to be. Stop trying to be to let people fit you into a mold that has been created in the society. These are all social constructs, and yeah, I can go there, but I won't. But you're right. Rise up.
Rise up.
Be
Quit
who you
listening
are.
to all in fact, sometimes turn off that social media.
Oh,
Look in the mirror and see what you
yeah.
see, and say, thank you, God, for who I am. I say it every morning. Thank you, God, I am perfect, whole, and complete in you. Thank you, God, you created me just the way I
Right.
am. And say that every day.
Yep.
God will bless.
You need to rewire, not all, but many, many, many of you need to rewire your brain and start thinking a little differently and unplug those wires that were plugged into your brain by somebody else.
That's right.
All right, folks. I think we're gonna wind it up. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Do the thumbs up thing. Leave us some comments. We want to hear what you've got to say. Maybe you can encourage somebody else. So
Thank you.
thank you. I got to set it off manually because the remote's not working. Sorry.